Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tidbits on Business and Finance with me. With the monetary policy of the Reserve Bank being the main driver for the revival of the Indian economy and the government's fiscal policy playing a second fiddle to it, each meeting of the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee is closely watched for its appraisal and forecast of the Indian economy and new measures, if any, to support its revival. Even though the Reserve Bank's mandate as compared to the government's fiscal policy is relatively limited, it has yet been doing all the heavy lifting to uplift the languishing economy afflicted by the COVID pandemic. Of late, the MPC seems to have run out of ideas, it seems to have run out of steam, which explains the absence of any new revival initiatives in the past few MPC meetings and also explains why, in a survey in the run-up to the recently held MPC meeting, the economists and experts were unanimous that the MPC will not change the interest rates and monetary outlook, which is what it did finally. Such a predictable outcome of a survey means that the MPC seems to have run its course and has nothing new, nothing innovative, nothing radical to offer, not just for the revival of the sagging economy, but also for control of the burgeoning inflation. The outcome of the recent Monetary Policy Committee meeting was that the repo rate was left unchanged at 4% and so was the reverse repo rate left unchanged at 3.35%. The MPC reiterated that it would continue with its accommodative stand and accommodative outlook as long as it is necessary to revive and sustain growth on a durable basis, and it will continue to mitigate the impact of COVID on the economy while ensuring that going forward, inflation remains within its target. This, the MPC says, is to support the growth of the Indian economy and achieve the medium-term target of consumer inflation at 4% within a band of plus minus 2%. The assessment of the current state of the global economy by the MPC is quite to the point and interesting. The MPC says that with the resurgence of infections in several parts of the world, especially of the Delta variant, the pace of recovery of the global economy has been moderating. It had picked up momentum, but it is now moderated. It then says that there is a slowdown in momentum in global trade volumes, with headwinds being posed by elevated shipping and logistics costs. The MPC then says that those nations which have been ahead in vaccination and fiscal stimulus are rebounding sharply, while the others remain subdued and vulnerable to new waves of infection. It points out that there has been considerable hardening of commodity prices, including those of oil. The headline inflation has thus gone up in several advanced as well as emerging economies. The MPC says that the emerging market currencies have depreciated because of portfolio investment outflows, and the dollar has strengthened since mid-June because of this factor. In its assessment of the present state of the Indian economy, the MPC noted that the economic activity picked up in June-July 21 as the states eased the pandemic containment measures that they had imposed. It points out and it notes that high frequency indicators, which include e-way bills, toll collections, electricity generation, air traffic, railway freight traffic, port cargo, steel consumption, cement production, import of capital goods, passenger vehicle sales and two-wheeler sales. It says these indicators posted strong growth in June-July 21. It says that industrial production expanded in double digits year on year in May 21, but it was still 13.9% below the May 2019 level, which we think is a more comparable level. The services sector PMI remained in the negative zone, notes the MPC. While food inflation upticked in June, the CPI index plateaued at 6.6% in that month. System liquidity remained ample and credit supply by banks grew by 6.5%. Aggregate demand, it notes, is rising, it is increasing, but it is still weak, being overcast by the pandemic and its impact in the nation. Real GDP growth in financial year 21-22, according to the MPC, is estimated to be at 9.5%. In his customary post-MPC meet remarks, the Reserve Bank governor said that the Reserve Bank's actions together with those of the government are aimed at alleviating distress and prioritizing growth in the country while keeping the financial system healthy and stable. He said that we are in a much better position than what we were at the time of the MPC meet in June 2021. As the second wave of the pandemic ebbs, containment eases, and we slowly build back, vaccine manufacturing and administration, according to him, are steadily rising. He yet says that the need of the hour is not to drop our guard and remain vigilant against any possibility of a third wave, especially in the background of rising infections in certain parts of the country. The RBI MPC to us seems to be at a dead end, perhaps itself not sure of the economy's direction, which we understand is a very fluid, very dynamic and very uncertain situation in the global economy as well as in the domestic economy. With no new initiatives, no new perspectives, no new insights, no new policy measures or perhaps no new vision too, the Reserve Bank has kept the repo rate and the outlook unchanged now for 15 consecutive months and is unable to initiate new measures to get out of this rut. It has also adopted a strategy of wait and watch and hope for the best, which is not what we would expect of India's monetary and banking regulator. In this role, the RBI is also the watchdog of the Indian economy, with its finger on the pulse on a real-time basis, as we note. The RBI is the first to receive data and decipher the embedded signals in it to analyze, to decide and confidently predict the status and directions of the Indian economy. It is meant to be an autonomous body with unbiased opinions and lots of expertise and lots of data at its beck and call. And we thus have the following questions for the Reserve Bank governor. The first question: what is that single most crucial parameter that the Reserve Bank watches to announce that long-term growth has returned to the Indian economy? Is it the build-up of jobs? Is it fresh project investments? Is it consumer spending? Or is it the return of consumer confidence? Or all of them in some mix or the other? Our next question: what are the high-frequency indicators? What are the dynamic parameters to watch as reliable indicators of return of growth in the economy on a durable basis? Our next question: for how many quarters should the GDP grow consistently to confidently conclude that durable growth is back in the Indian economy? The fourth question: apart from interest rate and money supply tinkering, does the Reserve Bank have any other initiative in its arsenal to support economic revival in India? The fifth question: what is the Reserve Bank doing to resolve the NPA crisis and unshackle credit growth in the banking and financial system in India, because of which the economic growth has been suffering? The next question: what does its accommodative outlook truly translate into at the ground level? Because the outlook now has remained unchanged since many quarters, and yet the state of the economy has shown little improvement and there have been no further initiatives from the Reserve Bank either. The next question: if bank lending is not growing rapidly and interest rate transmission too happens at a snail pace, then how does a low repo rate of 4% and the reverse repo rate of 3.35% really help? If at all, it does. Faced with rising and stubborn inflation, at what point will the Reserve Bank increase interest rates to tame inflation and sacrifice growth is our next question. And finally, when will the Reserve Bank start withdrawing the surplus liquidity from the system? Because that is going to be a major signal, it is going to be a major event which is going to impact a lot of sectors, a lot of parameters of the Indian economy. While we realize and recognize that the Reserve Bank is being made to do the heavy lifting instead of the government doing that, we still would say that as an autonomous body, as an expert, as the banking financial regulator, as the monetary authority, we would still look for signals, we would still look for decisions, we would still look for answers from the Reserve Bank to all these questions that we pose. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, Choose the language you prefer to get updates in and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel.